You have to have faith. You have to have hope as an artist. You are creating stuff out of nothing. That requires faith. A reference book that I use at least once every 2 years to help me with my creativity is The Artist's Way. I've been using this book probably the last, 20 years. I love it because it gets me out of my junk. Like sometimes you start feeling overwhelmed, or the voices in your head will start telling you you're not good enough, you can't be doing this, that creative process is not for you, blah, 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 blah. Well, the Artist's Way book is great for helping you get past all of that junk and get right back to your center. So The Artist's Way is a book I definitely recommend to every single actor watching. Even if you're an artist like a comic or a musician, this book is fantastic to help you, not just with your creativity, but to help you align yourself spiritually as a creative. She has 2 exercises in this book that she asks you to do throughout the whole book. The first one is morning pages. And what is so powerful about this exercise is that every morning when you first get up, she asks you to write out 3 pages of whatever is going on in your head. Just dump it out, just write it out. And when you finish, take it and put it in a manila envelope and don't look at it again. And you do this every day for the 12 weeks that you're doing this book. It really is so helpful. The other exercise that she asks you to do while you're doing the book for 12 weeks, she asks you to take yourself on an artist date every week. Do something for yourself to replenish your creative well. I love that. I still do artist dates even without me doing the book. I love that. And sometimes when I'm going through a difficult period, I will go ahead and do those morning pages just because my head is clogged up with all this nonsense and I want to get to clarity and focus and go, what am I doing and how am I going to get there, as opposed to going, oh, I'm overwhelmed. There's so much stuff going on in my head. There are all these critics. There are all these voices. The morning pages helps you cut it out. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to be part of an Artist's Way group. You don't need to do that. You can just get maybe 6, 7 other actors that you know, or even just artists. They could be musicians, they could be comics, they could be writers, and ask them to participate in this 12-week course so that every week you're doing 1 chapter. With the exception of the first week, you're doing the intro, you're doing the basic tools, and the first chapter. What's also great about this book is at the beginning of it, she asks you to do a contract. I'm just gonna share the contract with you because I think, sometimes we pick up stuff, we'll do it, and then we won't follow through. With the contract, it really helps you to stay honest. It helps you to really not give up on yourself and not abandon yourself in the process. So here's the contract. I, Lydia Nicole, understand that I am undertaking an intensive guided encounter with my own creativity. I commit myself to the 12-week direction of this course. I, Lydia Nicole, commit to weekly reading, daily morning pages, a weekly artist date, and the fulfillment of each week's task. I, Lydia Nicole, further understand that this course will raise issues and emotions for me to deal with. I, Lydia Nicole, commit myself to excellent self-care, adequate sleep, diet, exercise, and pampering for the duration of this course. And then you sign and date it. This is to keep you honest. So let's go through some of this stuff. What I love about it is that every week you are hitting a whole different area of your creative side. And let me just say this. This book is all about recovering that creativity that either was drained from you, stolen from you, dissipated by you. This gets you back to that place of the creative spark. So the first week, she talks about recovering a sense of safety so that you can start to see, maybe you've started hanging out with artists who maybe more famous than you or more established than you, and you're starting to feel icky, like, you think, oh, they're so great, but I'm not. She calls that the shadow artist, that you are living in the shadow of another artist, which you never want to do. It's great to commune with other artists, but maintain that sense of who you are as an artist. So the first chapter already starts to set you apart, to start reminding you of who you are. And then in week 2, it is recovering a sense of identity. She starts talking about stop hanging out with those crazy people, artists that are all about the drama and making, crazy things happen and all about themselves. Get away from that. Get away from people who don't support you, don't encourage you, don't build you up. In chapter 3, she talks about recovering a sense of power. You start to look at those places where you have limited yourself so you can get out of that. What are the limiting stories you've told yourself? And so this is really good because a lot of times as actors, we do limit ourselves. Oh, I can't get that part, or I'm not being called in for this, or I'm not good for that. This book starts to help you break it down, especially that chapter. Chapter 4 is about recovering a sense of integrity. And in it, she talks about looking at what is going on with you that you may need to change. What bad habits have you gotten into that you need to get out of? And looking at it from an honest perspective, not a victim, not, oh, they hurt me or whatever, but just looking at it, oh yeah, I started doing that. That's a bad habit that I got. She starts building those blocks for you to get yourself back to your best self. And if you've never been at your best self as an artist, this book will help you get there. In week 5, she talks about recovering a sense of possibility. As actors, we live in the possibility. What if, right? Don't we do that? We live in the what if. As an actor, I'm taking on this character, and sometimes I don't have substitutions, and I'll go into, well, what if? Chapter 5 is all about possibilities. Going into that place and looking at what no longer suits you, what no longer fits you. In week 6, she talks about recovering a sense of abundance. I'm going to read this part to you because this is so great. This week, you tackle a major creative block, money. Don't we all have that problem sometimes? Is with money, we don't have enough. You are asked to really look at your own ideas around God, money, and creative abundance. The essays will explore the ways in which your attitude limit abundance and luxury in your current life. Luxury. That's a word we hardly ever use, right? We're always thinking of the starving artist, but who thinks about the luxurious artist? That's what this talks about. Being in luxury, being in abundance, seeing that you have more than enough for whatever you need. It is very powerful. It starts to break stuff in you. Chapter 7 talks about recovering a sense of connection, and that's about listening. It's about taking information in a different way. It's about looking at your personal dreams, reconnecting with what is it that you said you wanted to do, and how can you get back to that, or how can you get to that. Week 8 talks about recovering a sense of strength. You will identify immediate and practical changes you can make in your current life. So it's getting you back to center, getting you back to your place of courage, strength, your inner being with God. Chapter 9, she talks about recovering a sense of compassion. In it, you'll explore and acknowledge emotional difficulties that get in your way, which is fantastic. The more we can know about ourselves, the better we are as actors, the more we can give to that character that we're working on. Chapter 10 is recovering a sense of self-protection. How many times do we put ourselves in danger because we don't take care of ourselves? Well, chapter 10 is great in helping you get there. Week 11, or chapter 11, is recovering a sense of autonomy. It is getting back to your authentic self, being who God created you to be as an artist. Week 12, or chapter 12, is recovering a sense of faith. Addressing the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust. You know, as artists, as actors, or whatever other field you're in, you have to have faith. You have to have hope as an artist. You are creating stuff out of nothing. That requires faith. You have to have faith that you can build that character from the bottom up, that you can come with the goods to make that character stand out, to give that character life. It's about faith. As an artist, you need faith. As an actor, you need faith. You have to be hopeful that when you go on auditions, you're gonna, if not book it, that you're gonna nail it, so that the next time you go in for that same casting director, they're ready for you. They know what you can do and they want to give you the job. One of the things I recommend when you're doing the Artist Way and you get your group of people, everybody goes around the circle saying what they learned from that chapter, what spoke to them, what made them feel in a certain way, what opened up a can of worms for them, what was an aha moment. Pick two of the exercises that she gives, or tasks as she calls them, at the end of each chapter, and share what you wrote down, or what you learned, or where you had a struggle, or where you had a block for it. Stay committed to it for the 12 weeks. I always like to start off with about 9 other artists, because what I've learned, and I've done this 9 times, is that people get scared when they're doing this process. They're not ready for the transformation that happens in this 12 weeks. So you may end up with 3 people. The second time I did the Artist Way, we went from 12 people to 3 people by the end of the 9th week. But just keep going, no matter who drops out, no matter what happens, what you discover, what you feel, just keep going. This book will really start to help you get back to your creativity and your spirituality and be able to integrate them and make you a better artist, because you're not fearful, you're not being jealous of other people, you're not feeling intimidated, you're just getting into your own power. Here's another video to help you on your journey as a creative artist.